I'm Shelby Vincent, and I picked Pecos by Carmen Bullosa because she's one of my favorite authors. I'm one of her translators, in fact, and this is the most recent book of hers that I've read, and it is fast-paced and very funny in places, very smart, and tells the whole history of Texas in this one little book. This is one of my favorites.
Okay. So what do you think about that book, Susanna?
Sarah's book sounds like an amazing journey from not only being an alcoholic to being sober, but from being somehow a little bit broken to being more whole, and it sounds like an incredible, empowering experience. And just listening to her speak, I can't wait to read it.
Thanks. Sandaria?
So, just like my life, I'm reading the second book first by Suzanne Frank, and I can't wait to get into it because I love travel, and she's traveled all over the world, and so I'm looking forward to reading this book about a woman who lives in different places.
Thank you very much. So, what are you going to read?
Okay, this is The Outcasts by Kathleen Kent, my new friend. And I'm excited to read this book because it is about a strong woman, and she starts out her adventure in a Texas brothel, which that's the beginning of a great narrative as far as I can tell.
I agree.
So yeah, so there you go. I'm excited.
Thank you very much, Sarah.
And I am going to be reading next Mourner's Bench by Sandaria Faye. This book really touched me because it's narrated by a child. She talks about her family. It's a coming-of-age book. It's set very firmly in a time and a place of revolution during the 60s, and it's reminiscent of one of my favorite books, which is To Kill a Mockingbird. So I'm really looking forward to reading this.
Cool, thank you very much.
Do I say my name?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I should? Okay.
Sure.
Great. Have we already started? Dang it.
Yes, we did, but I think it's fantastic, so
Okay,
go
great.
ahead.
Okay, cool. I am Catherine Bourne, and my favorite book by a woman, but it was also my favorite book of last year, was Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel. I love it because it's all about how, as long as there is any humanity left in the world, there will always be art. It reads like a series of short stories, all focused around this post-apocalyptic event. You hear from a woman who writes comic books and a traveling Shakespeare troupe who's trying to keep his stories alive. And they're all connected through this one man, and it's so good. You have to read it.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, I wanted to recommend Amy Leach's essay collection, Things That Are, and I wanted to not just give my testimonial, but to read to you from a text message from a poet I shared this book with, because it has the description of things that have to swim against the current and how that's like 100 motions, all of which say no, or it's like continuously being tossed apples and trying to retain a total of 0 apples. Or, as my friend Lisa, who is a poet, says, first of all, the marvelous idea that prose could sound like thought rather than a lecture, and then the question of whose thought? In this case, a twirling, adept, whimsical mind.
Beautiful.
Okay. So I want to recommend a novel called Euphoria. It's by Lily King, and I think it might be a perfect novel. I think it is perfect in so many ways. The sentences are perfect, so it's perfect in its smallest unit. The story is perfect. It has a love triangle, which I think is a perfection for a novel, and it's loosely based on the life of Margaret Mead, who was an incredibly fascinating anthropologist, but it's entirely invented, and it's just brilliant. I read it in one day, and then I spent the next several days recovering from it. I just loved it so much. So, Euphoria by Lily King.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Caroline Nagy, and I'm the author of Texas Jailhouse Music. I love nonfiction books about music and music history. One of the ones that I would recommend is Right by Her Roots by Julie Hight, H-I-G-H-T. It's one of the best books about music and women in music that I've ever heard, I've ever read.
Rolling.
Who wants to start?
I'll go first. Okay, so because I have it conveniently right here. I would recommend Mouthy by Emily Rose Con-Sheehan. She's a Chicago poet, and this is a very sexy, witchy, thoughtful book. Great poems.
I'm Bonnie Jo Stufflebeam, and I'm going to recommend Kelly Link's Magic for Beginners. It's this really great genre-crossing short story collection that is just full of magic.
Cool.
My name's Fatima Hersey, and I'm going to recommend Patricia Smith's Blood Dazzler. It's a document of Hurricane Katrina as told by everyone who experienced it, from the people to the dogs to the storm herself, and it's just a beautiful way to explore something very dark and beautiful.
Okay.
I'm going to recommend the thing that I'm most looking forward to reading next on my book stand, and that is Aziza Barnes's I Be But I Ain't. She does really interesting things with language, and I can't wait to just explore that.
All right.
I'm Bess Whitby, and I would recommend Redhead and the Slaughter King by Megan Valley, which is a very conversational book of poems about coming of age and the body that is more brutally honest than it is super flowery, which I think is awesome.
All right. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Fabiana Martinez. I'm here at the Wild Detectives, very proud. I'm presenting my first book. The name is 12 Random Words, 12 Palabras al Azar. It's a bilingual collection of short stories. And I'm here because I love to read. And they're asking me, well, you are in the Women Galore Festival, so what are your favorite female writers? Of course, I have a favorite Spanish writer, and her name is Almudena Grandes. And one of my favorite novels that is in my heart is called El Corazón Helado, The Frozen Heart. Is one of the best pieces of literature I've ever read. I like Ana Maria Matute very much. I have my favorite in English too. I read in many languages, and one of them, because she decided to write in a language that was not her first, is Jhumpa Lahiri, who decided suddenly to write in Italian. So I like that kind of adventure, the adventure of languages. But as I said, if I have to recommend one novel by a female author, I would say go and buy right now The Frozen Heart by Almudena Grandes.
Okay, so I wanted to recommend, and I've been kind of crazy about her stuff all month, Kate Tempest's newest novel, debut novel actually, The Brick That Built These Houses. It's a story about contemporary life in an English city, but it feels very American and very young, and she just writes with such poetry about being young and trying to figure out what you want to do with your life, and the way that ambition can be crippling or be the thing that destroys you. And it's really good, and they actually carry it here at Wild Detectives, so check it out.
Did it poison my food? Is it 'cause I'm a girl? If I picked up some sonnets, would you call me a miracle? I'm gonna go where my urge leads no more. Swallowed waist deep in the gore of the forest, a boreal feast. Let it finish me, please, 'cause I've revenged myself all over myself. There's nothing